You keep trying to fix everything. Every part of your life feels like a puzzle piece that refuses to fit. You tweak the schedule. You tweak the routine. Maybe you read that one book or listen to that one podcast. And yet, nothing really moves. Nothing really shifts. It's like you're sprinting on a treadmill, exhausted, but still in the same place. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Nothing gets better until you let go. But we're not talking about just be chill or trust the universe nonsense. I'm talking about the kind of letting go that feels like a small death. Letting go of control, of needing everything to make sense, of needing everyone to like you. Letting go of the version of yourself you're trying to force into existence just to prove you're enough. You might be thinking, but if I let go, won't it all fall apart? That's the trap. The thing you're white-knuckling is often the very thing holding you back. It's like gripping onto a cactus because you're afraid of what happens if you let go. Meanwhile, it's already bleeding you out slowly. The reason life feels so heavy, why you feel so stuck, isn't because you're not doing enough. It's because you're carrying too much that doesn't even belong to you anymore. Dead identities, old expectations, guilt you inherited, all that emotional clutter taking up space in a life that's begging to expand. And here's where it gets weirdly funny. We try to manifest a new life while clinging to the habits, relationships, and mindsets of the old one. It's like trying to upgrade your phone while refusing to delete anything off your 2012 BlackBerry. Good luck with that. Letting go isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It's knowing that peace isn't something you chase, it's something that shows up once you stop chasing what never mattered in the first place. You ever notice how the tightest grip happens when you're the most afraid? When you're scared to lose something or someone, you start micromanaging life like a stressed out director who forgot the script. You control conversations, you replay scenarios in your head, you overthink texts, you ask for signs, all because some part of you believes that if you just do it right, you can avoid the chaos. But guess what? That very control is the chaos. Control is seductive. It gives the illusion of power, but it's a fear response in disguise. You don't control what you trust. And when you don't trust yourself, your future, or the timing of your life, you end up trying to force clarity out of things that were never meant to be figured out. Letting go isn't about giving up. It's about giving up the illusion that you ever had control in the first place. You're not lazy. You're not broken. You're just exhausted from holding together things that want to fall apart. And sometimes, letting them fall apart is the healing. Let the friendship drift if it doesn't feed your soul anymore. Let the outdated dream die if it no longer excites you. Let the version of you that played it safe quietly exit the room. And here's the paradox. The minute you finally stop holding on so tightly, everything starts to move. Not because life suddenly fixed itself, but because you did the one thing that actually matters. You created space, and space is where all the good things live. Peace, clarity, alignment, things you've been searching for in the noise, but they've been quietly waiting in the silence. The hardest part about letting go? It's not the fear of losing. It's the fear that if you let go, nothing will come to replace it. That silence will echo, that the emptiness will last, that maybe, just maybe, you were wrong to let go at all. And so, you cling to the potential of people, to the what-if versions of your life, to the older version of you that doesn't even fit anymore. But here's the truth. No one really says out loud, you're not holding on because it's good. You're holding on because it's familiar. We get addicted to familiarity, even if it hurts. We'd rather walk a path we know than risk wandering a better one we've never seen. It's like clinging to a leaky umbrella in a storm, just because it's the only one you've ever had. But what if letting go isn't about loss? What if it's about alignment? Because when you release the things that are draining you, emotionally, mentally, even spiritually, you're not becoming empty. You're just making space. Space for something cleaner, something real, something that doesn't require constant questioning or over-explaining or begging the universe to please just make it work. Sometimes it's not that life isn't moving. It's that you're so entangled in what you're forcing that you can't even see what's flowing right past you. The mind says, but what if I regret it? The soul says, but what if you finally breathe? And that's where it shifts. You're not lazy. You're not lost. You're just heavy, carrying expired versions of people, ideas, identities, and emotions. Things that once served you, but now just sit there, gathering dust in your emotional attic. Letting go doesn't mean you didn't love. It doesn't mean it wasn't real. It means you love yourself enough not to stay where you no longer grow. Let's talk about something few people are willing to admit. Letting go doesn't always come with a lightning bolt of clarity. Sometimes it looks like waking up one day and realizing you're tired of your own patterns, tired of pretending things still feel good, tired of convincing yourself to keep trying, tired of fighting to be understood in spaces where your silence was always louder anyway. There's a quiet grief in letting go, not just of people, but of who you thought you'd be by now, of the timelines you created, of the story you kept trying to live out, even when it no longer fit the person you're becoming. And maybe you don't even realize how heavy it's been, because you've normalized it. You've gotten good at functioning through the emotional noise, smiling when you're drained, showing up when you're empty, telling people, I'm good, when you haven't actually felt that in months. You start becoming so responsible, so put together, so fine, that nobody even notices you're quietly falling apart. And if you're really honest, sometimes even you forget. You forget what it feels like to breathe deeply, to not be constantly waiting for a reply, for clarity, for peace, to not have your nervous system operating in survival mode 24/7, because you've been stuck in maintenance mode, trying to hold everything together, when what you really need is to let it fall apart. Let the version of you that keeps pushing through the pain step aside. Let the one that always needs a plan go quiet for a minute. Let the broken timeline collapse so something real can emerge from underneath it. You see, the moment you let go, you shift from being in control to being in alignment. And in alignment, things feel different. They don't just happen faster, they happen easier. Not because life suddenly becomes perfect, but because you stop resisting what was never yours to hold in the first place. You make space for softness. You make space for real connection. You make space for the present moment without filtering it through fear or past failures. You let go, and you begin to feel light again. And that lightness, that's where peace lives. That's where clarity lives. That's where you live, under all the trying and forcing and overthinking. The more you release, the more you remember. You were never meant to hold it all. You were meant to move through it, learn from it, and let it pass. So here's something most people don't realize until they're deep into their journey. Letting go isn't a one-time event. It's not a dramatic moment where you throw everything in a metaphorical fire and walk away clean. It's a daily practice, a moment-by-moment choice to stop carrying what doesn't align, even when your hands still remember how to hold it. Because truthfully, letting go feels uncomfortable at first. Why? Because even pain, when familiar, can feel safer than the unknown. We stay in cycles not because we're weak, but because we're wired to return to what's predictable. Even if it's toxic, even if it hurts, even if every part of us knows better. You've probably been told that growth is about discipline and action, that the people who rise are the ones who hustle harder, do more, chase it down. But for people like you, people who feel deeply, who carry layers of emotional memory, who've lived entire lifetimes inside their own head, growth looks different. It doesn't look like grinding harder. It looks like finally resting. It looks like saying no without guilt. It looks like feeling the sadness instead of numbing it. It looks like not chasing someone just because they once made you feel seen. It looks like accepting that peace might not look impressive from the outside, but it feels like truth on the inside. And that's what you're really craving. Not the old version of success, not attention, not validation. Clarity. You want to stop carrying all the noise, all the expectations, all the pressure to become something for someone else. You just want to feel like yourself again, before the world told you who that had to be. Letting go isn't about becoming less. It's about finally making space to become whole. And sometimes that means walking away from what once felt safe, not because it was bad, but because you've outgrown it. You're not supposed to keep everyone in your story. You're not supposed to chase the life you once thought you needed when you were still trying to please everyone but yourself. You're allowed to change. You're allowed to feel unsure in the in-between. You're allowed to say, I'm not who I was, and I'm still figuring out who I'm becoming. And that right there, that's power. That's presence. That's real transformation. The kind that doesn't need to shout. The kind that doesn't need to be perfect. The kind that quietly changes everything because you finally stopped pretending everything was okay while carrying things that never were yours to hold. And here's something else no one tells you. Letting go doesn't just change what's around you. It changes how you see everything. You start noticing how much noise you were filtering your life through. How many of your reactions weren't coming from the present moment, but from old wounds that never had a voice. You begin to recognize that the way you used to protect yourself, by overthinking, by over-explaining, by over-controlling, wasn't really protection at all. It was survival, but you're not surviving anymore. You're transitioning. You're entering a phase where the old rules no longer apply, where you're no longer obligated to shrink in exchange for belonging, where you can choose peace over performance, even if the people around you don't understand it yet. And yeah, that part gets tricky, because once you start letting go, people will notice. They'll notice your silence. They'll notice you stop chasing. They'll notice you're not available like you used to be. And some of them won't like it. Not because you've done anything wrong, but because your growth exposes their comfort. The version of you that said yes to everything, that over-explained to avoid conflict, that bent yourself in half just to keep everyone calm. That version served a purpose. It kept the peace. It kept the connection. It made you feel needed. But now it's costing you something too valuable to ignore. It's costing you your clarity, your energy, your actual self, because you can't keep watering dead plants and wonder why nothing new is growing. You can't keep staying in rooms that drain you and expect to feel alive. You can't keep overcommitting and call it loyalty when it's actually just a quiet form of self-abandonment. Letting go isn't giving up. It's giving yourself back to the present moment, back to the relationships that pour into you too, back to your creativity, your intuition, your breath. And no, you won't always get closure. You won't always get a clean ending, but peace doesn't need permission. Sometimes the healing comes when you stop waiting for the apology. Sometimes it's when you stop proving your point. Sometimes it's when you walk away, not because you hate someone, but because you finally love yourself more than the story you've been stuck in. That's the shift. That's the letting go. Not a dramatic moment, but a quiet decision to no longer carry what's never been yours to begin with. So here we are. You sat through the quiet moments, the hard truths, the parts that echoed something you haven't even said out loud yet. And if you're still here, it's probably because this video didn't just talk to you. It met you. Not the version of you that smiles on command. Not the version that pushes through with a numb kind of strength. Not the one that knows how to say the right thing, even when everything inside is unraveling. But the real you. The one that's tired of pretending they're okay, just because everyone else needs them to be. Because here's the thing, so many people are carrying what's breaking them in silence. Not because they want to, but because they were never given permission to put it down. They were told letting go means giving up. They were told it means weakness, that it makes them unreliable, unstable, selfish. But that's not true. Letting go is one of the strongest things you'll ever do. It takes courage to walk away from something that once defined you, to grieve someone who's still alive, to release a future you planned for, because it no longer matches who you're becoming. It takes maturity to realize you don't owe the world an explanation for your peace, that you don't have to keep entertaining chaos just because it's familiar, that your life isn't a contract to stay stuck in stories you've outgrown. Letting go doesn't mean you didn't care. It means you finally started caring about yourself just a little more. And yeah, it's not a clean process. It gets messy, it gets lonely. Sometimes you let go, and a day later, you feel like picking it all back up again. That's okay. Healing isn't linear, it's layered. But every time you choose yourself instead of what drains you, you're planting seeds of clarity in soil that used to be soaked in confusion. And slowly, quietly, you build something real. A life that feels like peace, not performance. A life where you don't wake up dreading the day because you're too full of things that never belong to you. That's the gift of letting go. Not more things, not more praise, just more of you. So if this video found you at the right time, if it reached that hidden part of you rarely show to anyone, then do one thing. Comment the word release. Not because it helps the algorithm, but because saying it is a signal to yourself that you're ready to stop gripping what's already gone, that you're done carrying pain as proof of strength, that you're ready to exhale fully for the first time in a long time. Let this be the moment, not tomorrow, not next month. Now, because nothing gets better until you let go. And now, you finally have permission to. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, stay soft, stay conscious, and stay free.